Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money with your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 717 of Screw the Commute podcast. Today we're going to give you a primer on text marketing, and usually I tell you about something I've made a lot of money on. Well, not this time. In fact, I quit doing it rather quickly years ago. Now, that does not mean that this is a bad way to market in the right circumstance, and I'll probably, in this episode, reveal some of the things I think I did wrong back then. But text messages, listen to this, have an open rate of up to 98%, all right? And on average, 95% of the messages are opened within 3 minutes. So this is a powerful form of advertising and marketing and community building and all that. All right, so I hope you didn't miss episode 716. That was a Q&A session, a potpourri of all kinds of stuff. And episode 715 was 10 email marketing tips. Email's still where the money is, even though I'm going to talk about text today. And episode 714 was the Tor browser if you need some super high security when you're browsing. Anytime you want to get to a back episode, you go to screwthecommute.com/ and then the episode number. All right, follow me on TikTok at tiktok.com/ @digitalmultimillionaire, and always make sure you pick up and tell your friends about a copy of my automation ebook that'll just save you hundreds of hours of time into the future if you took time to read this book. And you get that at screwthecommute.com / automate free. All right, let's get to the main event. Listen, I don't know where they get these estimates, but there's 3.8 billion smartphone users in the world, all right? And like I said, 95% of texts that people get on those things are open within 3 minutes. Now, when you're doing text messaging, you try to keep the message below 160 characters. It's like the old Twitter. I mean, if you go over 160, it breaks it up into multiple messages, which is kind of a no-no, which might make people mad. So it's short form stuff. Now, is it right for your business? Well, a lot of the stuff I got today is from podium.com. There's some other places I'll tell you about today. And you always have to take things with a grain of salt because they're one of the most expensive, I think, places to have a service that does text marketing. I forget if they're $289 a month or something, but don't worry, there's all kinds of places where you can do it, relatively cheaply. Uh-oh, got to turn off the phone. I'm fighting with my dog's paw is bleeding like crazy, and I've got him right here with me, and I forgot to turn my phone off. So I'm going to do that right now. All right. Let's see. So, a lot of it came from podium.com. So the thing about, is this right for your business? Well, local businesses totally make sense to me. In fact, they say that 21% of people are more likely to opt into a local business text promotion over some big business. So that's something to know if you're a local business. And they're 45% more likely to opt in to a local business other than an e-commerce business like I run. All right. So, but that doesn't mean it doesn't work if you do it right. It just means that it's not as big as for local businesses. And just to give you an example, I remember talking to a guy about it at a shoe store, and the technology is such, I don't know how I guess they use the GPS locating stuff, but they knew if somebody was downtown within a mile of their store. So they texted those people, which costs very little money to text, the number of people within a mile of your store. All right. And gave them some discount coupon, only good for a certain amount of time. So this is very powerful. And then people flocked in and bought shoes. I mean, the guy was telling me his shoes, when he did that, shoes sales went up like crazy. I mean, some ungodly amount. So that does make sense. And a lot of restaurants and bars are using those kinds of things too. So very powerful for them. Doesn't mean it can't work for most people like us, but again, those are real examples of super high returns on your investment. Now, still to this day, like I've always preached, is that most of the people interact with your business through phone or email, and that's the way it is. But they kind of say that the reason is because a lot of businesses don't have text marketing capability, so people don't even have a choice but to use phone or email. But they say nearly 67% of the people polled said they would increase the convenience of dealing with that business if there was text messaging. All right, so all kinds of good stuff here. Now, but here's the other side of it, all right, because email has gotten a little bit slack on spam laws. That email's been around for 3 million years, right? So the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, TCPA, it's a federal law that requires businesses to get express written consent from consumers using mobile devices before sending them marketing text messages. Now, I highly suggest you look into that act. If you're going to do this, make sure whatever service you use is compliant with that. And most of them, the reputable ones are, because this is serious stuff. I mean, people, get really mad with if they're getting texts that they didn't want to get. Of course, there's spammers infiltrate all these systems and then they disappear, right? I get that. But if you're a legitimate business, they'll come after you. Okay, so make sure you read about how you're supposed to opt people in, and they have to text a yes, or they have to you have to give them an opt-out thing, text stop if you don't want messages anymore and you actually comply with that. Like I said, spammers are going to infiltrate anything, and I'm sure you've all gotten texts that you didn't want and never solicited. But that's a big no-no for legit businesses, because they're sitting ducks for the feds to come after them. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about bulk messaging versus SMS marketing. Well, I think this is where the mistake I made is I just bulk messaged everybody that agreed to get texts from me. I remember vividly one guy was really pissed off because he said, "I was just getting on a plane, Tom, and I got your text. I had to stop and read it, and I, missed my place in line." I mean, he was just really mad about it. He says, "You're bothering me. Quit doing this." And I got a few of them like that. And at the time, I didn't care that much because people weren't totally enamored with their smartphones like they are today. So I'm not opposed to trying it again, but to be smarter how I do it. So that's bulk messaging. Now, SMS marketing, some of these services have the ability to do customization of the emails. And I'm sure you've gotten stuff from places like maybe your bank or something, or Verizon, or places that are saying, "Hey, your bill's due, and so many days," and this and that. Well, those are customized messages, and they don't go out to everybody that's bill isn't due, right? Right. So I think being more smart about it is not only cheaper, because you'll be sending out less messages. Most of these services aren't unlimited texts unless you pay a lot of money per month. So, some of them are per message, and I'll get to that in a minute. But anyway, customization is going to get less complaints and more response from people. Now, there's another thing you should recognize is transactional text messages versus promotional text messages. Transactional is just like I mentioned with Verizon. "Hey, your bill is due in three days, blah, blah, blah. Click here if you want to pay online," whatever. That's transactional. Promotional is, "Hey, everybody, I got this new Be a Great Podcast Guest thing coming up, and there's only 10 slots left, so that's a promotional message, going out. It's more like the bulk messaging kind of thing. So transactional is where it's very specific to their account, and promotional is something that obviously you're marketing something. All right, now I'm going to have a link to Podium in their Ultimate Guide to SMS Marketing, where I got a lot of this stuff at podium.com. But here's some other things. And also keep in mind, they sell this stuff. So these figures may not be totally accurate. I'm not sure where they got them, But anyway, some of them are very believable because I know just the way I operate my phone, and you probably operate your phone the same way. So it says they say text has a 209% higher response rate than phone, email, or places like Facebook. They say that 65.6% of consumers think texting makes working with local businesses more convenient. Consumers are twice as likely, 1.8 times, to prefer texting to any other communication method. 40, and again, that depends on the age of the customer too. I had a guy the other day on the thing. I've known him for years. He just got his first smartphone last week. All right. Never texted in his whole life. So the older generation may not be true to these figures. It says 40.5% of consumers say they're likely to switch to a different business because they offer text messaging to communicate. 75% of consumers are okay with receiving SMS messages from brand. I'm going to explain and do a little glossary here for you of what these terms mean. SMS from brands. And of course, they're okay receiving after they specifically opted in to get the messages. And consumers redeem SMS delivered coupons 10 times more than other types of coupons. And this is one of the best practices to get people to sign up, is offer them a discount coupon. So I'm thinking I'm going to give them a permanent discount coupon on anything I offer, and including my mentor program. So that's a big incentive as long as they stay on the list. See? All right. So anyway, those are all from Podium. So take them with a grain of salt. Now, let me just talk about some of the terms here. And a lot of the terms are the same, click-through rate and this and that of email. But so I just took out the ones that are mostly text-based. So SMS stands for short message service. And this is just text with no media. MMS is multimedia messaging service. That's a text message that can include pictures, videos, GIFs, links, and all that kind of stuff. SMS keyword. This is a word or phrase that customers text your business to opt in to your text marketing messages from your brand. You've probably heard people, even on television, say text, screw the commute to, and then they give you to a certain number or something. Quick response code, that's a QR code. This works for lots of stuff, but anyway, you can use an image that when people scan it with their smartphones, it'll take them to your SMS sign-up page. Texting service software. This is just the whatever company you get that helps you with this. Normally, this is not from I don't even know if you could do it from a piece of software on your computer. I don't know. Maybe you could, but mostly these services are what you sign up for, text servicing software. Now, short codes, this is like a 5 to 6 digit number used to send either MMS or SMS messages, but their short codes are pretty expensive, and it may not even be worth it. They're like $500 plus per month to have a short code, and it's hard to get them. And it's usually one-way bulk texting. I know I get them from the political candidates all the time. But the problem is that you can tell it's some bulk thing like that because it's a short code. A long code is a standard 10-digit number, kind of looks like a phone number, and it looks like it's coming from a person and not from an automated system. So there's no reason for most people to get the short codes. And personalization variable, this is where they can reach into your CRM and pull out individual information, like I was saying with Verizon, to say, hey, your bill's due in a couple days. So that's personalization kind of thing. I got another link for you that's got a really, looks to be an honest review of about 13 different services, and gives you the prices and gives you what they're best known for, because if your business may have needs that, or you may not need a fancier service, so they can get a simple, easy to use service. And Maybe you have really fancy things you want to do. So there's a different service. So it's a really good review. So that's the businessnewsdaily.com. And just to give you an idea, prices range from either a per message of like the cheapest I saw was 0.0075 cents per text. I think that means it would be $7.50 per 1,000 messages sent. So that's relatively cheap. Even with me, I'm not sure I get 1,000 people to sign up just if I emailed my 100,000 people. I don't know if they want them from me. And then I think this one I was telling you about is $289 a month. So it can be pretty pricey for the super fancy services. And, a lot of them are geared towards big companies. So you probably don't need that kind of stuff. Anyway, it's worth a try to look into this. And so I would read the marketing guide from Podium, and then I would look at the reviews of all the different services at this other link, Business News Daily, and decide if it's something you want to give it a try. I mean, especially if you have small numbers, if you get the right service, it won't cost much at all. And you might say, hey, I really like this. It's just an alternative way to reach people that's going to get through, and a high open rate, so, and then the TCPA, I think it's called, again, will tell you, you really need to tell people how many messages roughly you're going to send per month and what to expect from you, and make it easy to opt out. And you can't send a text message this is the big no. I mean, the fines for this is $18,000 and plus $18,600 per occurrence. So if you send 2 texts to get people to opt in, that's 2 different occurrences. All right, that's $36,000 in fines. So don't text people to ask them to opt in. Email them if you want and tell them what to do to opt themselves in. That's totally cool. But don't text anybody to ask them to opt into your text. No, it's a big no-no. All right, well, there's a little primer on text messaging. I think it can be very lucrative and inexpensive to give it a try. And if you're the right kind of business and you do the right thing, it could really, really give a whole new way for you to reach your prospects and customers. All right, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. If you need help with this kind of stuff and everything else it takes to be successful online, check out my mentor program at greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. We'll catch you on the next episode. See you later.